All is not calm. Welcome to I Hope You Suffer.
Really?
Yeah.
Come on. Come on.
This is episode 65 of I Hope You Suffer. My name is Nathan.
I'm full of regrets.
Hi.
That's Meat Shake.
Master Meat Shake.
This... Okay, so I'm just throwing this out there immediately. This might top Tsunami for me.
I don't know if it's that bad, but it's up there.
Man,
it was tedious.
I think I paused this movie more than I did Tsunami, to see how much longer I had left.
I was just letting it go because I wanted to get through it.
It was a struggle.
Tsunami for me was it was so bad, but at the same time I was like, I don't know where this is fucking going. This movie, I was just like, this is just straight up bad and I don't give a fuck,
I, first of all, apologize for picking this movie. Well, technically, I only half picked it. So, this is, I really hope, the worst movie that going forward we have to watch, because this was, pretty bad. My note, every time when we do one of these, there's, a note in it that you write multiple times, and in this, I wrote a lot of, nonsensical dialogue, because these people don't say, whatever they're saying to each other does not make sense. The plot of this movie, when they finally tell you what's happening, literally does not make sense at all.
An hour and 15 minutes into the hour and 30 minutes of the movie, you find out what's actually
literally
happening.
Right, and it doesn't make any sense. And then I wrote, there's just question marks everywhere, I just don't even understand. But I did have some laugh out loud moments, so at least there's that.
Oh my god, I don't think I laughed once. Well,
really?
I think
there's one scene that I had to pause because I was laughing so hard.
I think the first time you see the doll move, I was just kind of didn't find it funny, but laughed out of just why is this happening to me?
You're like, fuck off. There was a scene that, it's not supposed to be funny, obviously, that I legit was, cracking up at. I can't wait to talk about it.
I gotta pull something up on IMDb real quick, because I saw it earlier, and I don't know how this is possible, but give me 1 second.
I'm curious as to what this is.
I gotta put, it's from, the director's filmography.
Oh.
So this movie is directed by Justin Price, so this movie came out, I don't know if I said what we did. We're doing The Elf from 2017.
we didn't.
Yes. We're really trying to get through it.
Yes. Yeah, The Elf from 2017, who was written and directed by Justin Price, who also wrote in 2018 Elves.
Oh yeah, it's a sequel.
The sequel.
Is it?
Yeah,
because it doesn't seem like there's anything tying it to it other than being elves.
So because when I originally picked this movie, I was going to pick Elves because there's something creepy that happens in the trailer, and I was like, oh, maybe this will be cool. But then I was like, oh, it's a sequel. The stoner roommate, which we have a stoner roommate in this one, she is also in that movie as the same character, and it's the same elves, but I'm not really sure, I'm assuming it's the same story, but yeah, it's definitely a sequel.
So I only bring that up because the one trivia item under Elves is deemed as one of the worst movies ever made.
I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I almost accidentally watched Elves instead of The Elf because I couldn't remember which one we had chosen,
I texted
Well-
and
Katie.
I could not find the elf for the fucking life of me.
Did you have to go to Tubi?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
okay.
I
So
was like,
where is this movie? Because the
It
elf
was-
is the worst name. Like, the SEO on it is awful. You cannot find that movie. It doesn't exist.
yeah, I was really confused because it was definitely on Prime before, and then Nathan texted me today and was like, "Oh, I can't find this movie," and I was like, "Oh my god, I can't either." I was like, "How can this be?" It just like disappeared the moment we needed. So like there was like a couple minutes where I was like, "Oh, maybe we don't have to watch this," but it was on.
It would have been awesome if
yeah.
we could
Prime
find it.
Prime tried to save us.
Kit was the only one that had to watch it.
Oh my god, I would be so mad.
Sorry, Nathan. I tried really hard. Yeah, because originally I was like looking at the two of them, and Elves has like on IMDb a 1.9, and this movie somehow has a 5.7. So I was like, oh,
What?
yes.
This movie is fucking terrible. I don't
Hey,
know what this other movie is that this guy worked on, but it's called The Battle, Cinco de Mayo.
What?
I also kind of want to see that now, even though
I
I'm sure it's
was gonna say-
horrendous.
I can guarantee it's better than this movie.
This guy's
Mummy Rebirth.
written and like directed a bunch of shit that I've never heard of. Although
Justin
he's
Price. I demand answers.
Produced a movie in 2019 called Abominable that is not the good one.
We should definitely watch his 2017 horror thriller, The 13th Friday.
Oh boy, I wonder what that's gonna be a knockoff of.
I think we should blacklist him.
Yes.
I mean, none of the rest of these movies on his list look like anything we would ever come across and be like, oh, this looks like something we should watch.
Speak for yourself. I'm absolutely watching Dark Cupid.
And then
Unless you're John Carpenter, stop writing and directing your own movies. Well, I guess Jordan Peele as well. He could continue.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how this happened to us, you guys. Secret Santa definitely had like a lower rating too, so I just don't know.
I mean,
I don't-
there's like a shit ton of movies we've done that are incredibly worse than like Jason X that all have higher scores than Jason X and shit, so.
Cowards.
I guess the beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
I'm pretty sure Muckman still has like a higher score than like most of the movies we've done that like, at least from like when Kit and I were doing it, that we enjoyed.
I'm betting it's because, like, thousands of people have seen Jason X and hated it.
As opposed to
And
like
the
8.
only people that have seen The Elf are the people who wrote and directed it. So they're giving it, like,
I forgot.
decent scores.
It somehow has like 2,000 ratings.
What?
It's a movie that I guarantee you people like just stumble across it during the holidays and they're just like, I want to watch this like holiday themed horror movie.
By accident, right? Like, they're looking for Will Ferrell's
Well-
elf. At the end, they're like, Will Ferrell
I
didn't
really,
at all.
I really hope so.
I mean, this movie only has a 1.6 on Letterboxd, and like,
Oh,
which is, let's see how many. I don't know how many ratings there are, but
Oh my god. I clicked on the ratings breakdown on IMDb.
yeah, I'm looking at that right now.
32% of the people rating it gave it a 9.
that's
Like, how do these?
the 32 people that worked on it.
No, well, it's 661 votes for 32%. There's no way this is real.
Yeah, 175 people on Letterboxd have watched it, and if they all rated it, I mean, it's a lot of people rating it like a 1.6. I think the highest rating on here looks like it's like maybe a 2.5 or 3. So at least the people on Letterboxd are,
People who watch
Dang.
movies.
yeah.
Well, this has that thing going for it that like Mother Krampus did, where they give it a cover that has like nothing to do with the actual movie. So if you go based off of the cover, it kind of looks like it might be okay because it's like, I don't know, this elf actually has like a knife, like a real like kitchen, like a knife, and not just like a little butter knife. So
Someone's review of it on Letterboxd is just simply, we deserve better than this.
Yeah, so basically what we're saying is like, don't watch this movie.
Nah, go ahead and check it out.
It's oh man, I don't like.
It's just like really tedious, and there's just like really long shots where nothing happens. The dialogue doesn't make any sense.
God.
The story
You can
doesn't
barely
make any
hear
sense.
half the fucking dialogue.
The people like talk weird. Like sometimes they have accents and sometimes they don't. Like it's so. Thankfully, there was subtitles for this one. Otherwise, I don't know.
This is, I think, the second movie with Tsunami that I have like nothing positive to say about it. Cause like even like stuff like Nudist Colony of the Dead or like Island Claws or like shit we've done that was just like really terrible. There's been at least like one thing and I'm like, okay, well like I enjoyed this. This was cool. Like I have nothing in this movie.
I can look back on those and like laugh at how absurd they are, you know?
Yeah, like
Not a single fucking thing in this.
at least Nudist Colony was specifically like it was like they knew what they were making. They weren't trying to make something like fun or groundbreaking. It's just like a stupid musical comedy. And like Island Claws was like a 70s movie, so it was just fucking long and boring. This is just like this is rough.
I
Katie touched on something in this that drives me bonkers, and it is like those really long shots or like scenes that are way too long because the director mistakes like just long scenes of nothing happening for tension,
yeah.
and they think it's like, ooh, spooky, scary, like, you know, building tension, but it's just boring because nothing happens.
Honestly, I think I'm betting that comes down to budget. Like, there's the scene when they first get back to the house and, like, he realizes that, like, the elf is on that fucking, I guess, the shelf, like, next to him or whatever. Like, when he first realizes, like, it's in the house and not at the store. Where, like, Victoria grabs it and, like, walks off screen and all you see is, like, a long shot of the doorway that they just don't cut to anything else. It's just real time, her grabbing the elf, walking out of the room, putting it somewhere else, and then walking back and continuing the scene. Where I was just like, there was no reason to not have
runtime.
Yeah, and like I feel like it was just like they were just like, just keep rolling, and they had nothing else to cut to.
Yeah, there's a few scenes like that. And like in the very beginning when they're in the car and it just like shows her like sitting in the car just like being a person. I'm like, what is happening? Like, why is this happening right now? I don't get it.
This is characterization, okay? Look at her in a car existing.
Pretty
It's
much.
just like there's been a bunch of shit going on Twitter this week about like some magazine wrote like, you know, the 10 worst movies of the year or whatever. People get like, you know, like it's just stop doing these things. And like that's why like I always try and find it important to be like, hey, like yeah, this movie sucked, but like here's some shit we like enjoyed about it. But it just sucks when we come across something like this where I'm just like, there's no redeeming anything to this movie for me.
I liked the elf, like the actual elf doll. I liked him. I thought he was cute. And
Get out of here.
I liked Sky.
I like Sky's shirt that said something about like
Dibs on the drummer.
There you go. That's my one.
She was so funny.
Okay,
and then she
I will say the scene later in the movie when she's at the drive-thru and she just keeps keeps telling the person trying to take her order to hold on while she talks on the phone made me laugh.
She like just makes a phone call and she's like oh, hold on a second. And Lenny was like, can I help you? And she was like, shut up, bitch, I'm trying to talk on the phone. I was like, who does that? But I know people do that. That's why it's
yeah.
It's so freaking anyways. Okay.
All right, so like I said earlier, directed and written by Justin Price, starring
Allegedly written and directed. I can't be convinced those things happened for this film.
I think the dialogue I think it was all just like improv.
No, there's no way that any of this was improv. This I feel like is one of those movies where they were just flat out like, no, do it as I wrote it. And so they'd all just, because everybody acts like they're reading. Like,
yeah.
It's, God, the dad in it is the worst fucking actor I've
Oh
ever
my God.
seen.
Oh my god, he's my favorite part because he's so awful.
This movie stars Natasha Halaby as Victoria, Gabriel Miller as Nick, and Lasseter Holmes as John, who I think is the dad.
Yeah.
That's a sweet name.
Lassiter.
I just he is just like the bargain basement Rainn Wilson of the movie. That's his name, right?
Yes. Are you talking about Dwight?
Yeah, I couldn't. Wilson didn't
Okay.
sound right.
Yeah.
Yeah. He just reminded me of Dwight if Dwight got hit in the head and by a sledgehammer.
Got kicked in the head by a horse.
So this movie opens on an old man sewing a kid's mouth shut.
That was kind of cool. I was like not expecting that.
Yeah, the opening's like fine, but it doesn't like it barely sets anything up and then never really explains any of it. Like
Also,
what's the fucking monster in the beginning? Is that
Yeah,
supposed to be
I
Santa?
don't know. I don't know. That's what I was. Yeah, I don't know.
That's
so
Big Daddy Elf.
I don't know because I expected it to like come back like at the end. No, like it's not a spoiler, but whenever she was like stuck in the bathroom, I thought whatever that thing was gonna come back. But oh, you know what? I think it's supposed to be one of the, what did he call it? A demigorg?
Demagogue.
Demagogue. Which, okay, I guess that's what it's supposed to be, but there's no.
It's like throughout the movie, you'll hear like loud roar, like just like roaring in the distance that you're supposed to think there's some kind of other like giant monster around that's literally never seen or explained except for like its arm in this opening scene.
It also doesn't make any sense too with like what you find out later that like the grandpa is there and he's like doing something you don't know, and then he's like, I'm doing this, let me do it, I need to finish my work, and then he just like dies for no reason, and then the beastie is like, give me that list, and then it's just like that's it. Like what?
List me, dog.
This fucking movie's gonna make me watch Elves to see if it's ever explained.
Don't do it.
At
Don't
least-
fall for it.
The only thing about Elves that I could tell is at least he didn't direct it. So,
Yeah.
maybe it's 10 out of 10. Maybe it's a Santa sleigh. Maybe Goldberg shows up and he's the monster.
Goldberg is every elf.
Goldberg is just the elf. Not
That would
shrunk
explain
down.
a lot. Yeah, I think the other thing that bothers me about this is that, like, I know that Elf technically kills people, but he's, like, not scary at all. Just kick him in the face. He's literally the size of an elf on it. He's like a little elf doll. And he has a butter knife. Like, who?
I mean,
He walks so slow. So slow.
He does.
well, it's the
What?
thing, though. It's like anybody he attacks face to face, like, he doesn't kill. I mean, I guess the dad dies eventually from, like, blood loss, but, like, Jeremiah only dies because he gets attacked from, like, behind. I guess, I don't...
Spoiler
Except for-
alert. There's that scene later where someone gets a hold of it and just like punches it in the head, and its head explodes.
It's
'cause
this
it's
porcelain.
Yeah,
Well,
like
doesn't it comes back,
All right,
though.
end
so,
of
like,
movie. We're done.
Yeah, the end. My question too is like, are there supposed to be like multiples of them? Because like
I
there's
don't
that.
think so. I think it just moves around through, like, magic, so it can just, like, show up
Appear.
wherever.
Because there's like that one scene where like when Jeremiah gets attacked or whatever, and then inside the lady he's like, we got attacked by an elf, and then the lady's like, you mean this elf? And she like has him, but then the dad's like, give me my jacket, and he picks up his jacket, and then the elf is like under his jacket. I'm like, what is happening here?
I don't think anybody knows.
correct. That's the correct answer, I think.
Yeah, there's just a bunch of confusing shit about this old man making dolls at the beginning, and he dies, and I don't know, some shit happens that doesn't make
And
any
that's-
sense, and literally none of it comes back except for the fact that he had like a list of some sort. I guess this is supposed to be Nick's relative.
I think it's supposed to be his grandfather.
I mean, why? But why is his grandfather working in the timeline of that doesn't make any sense either. It would have to be like
Because he was already like
great
super old.
grandfather or some shit, because it's not like this was happening in like the 50s. It's happening in like the 1700s or some shit. So it had to have been like
Yeah, I have no idea.
I almost
It's-
don't
yeah.
I don't want to shit on the movie just so I could be like, "Hey, director, explain yourself," but fuck that. This movie sucks.
Too late.
Yeah,
There's
I don't need
no
answers
coming
that bad.
back.
So it cuts to like current day. You are introduced to Victoria and Nick, who are in some sort of, I guess, antique store.
Yeah, which sorry,
No.
didn't make sense. I was immediately like off the bat confused because in the summary it says that he's inheriting a toy shop, and this is definitely just like an antique store. So like I don't really understand.
Which is also funny because that is also never explained. You're all of a sudden just thrown into this, and like you kind of get dialogue about like somebody died and they're inheriting something, but you don't really find out what the store is. It's
Right, and
yeah.
it's like the house they're staying in, I think, is also his whoever. But then there's like a weird phone call between the main character Victoria and Sky about like I don't know. It's just like they don't tell you what's happening. It's just really confusing. Because then she's immediately like blah 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 stuff about making toys and this that and the other thing, and I was like, why does she know this and what is she talking about? Like
Just FYI, I'm gonna get real angry by the time we get to the end with like the twist with Victoria. That makes zero goddamn sense. I'm already thinking
God.
about it, and I'm so mad.
Oh, I forgot.
it's just like okay, sorry. Go
So, like,
You're just gonna hear my head thump on my keyboard, and just silence.
kid just has a stroke. So Victoria finds a book from a toy maker that's empty. That kind of barely plays into the fucking plot.
ahead.
There's like a noise in the back room, so Nick goes back there to see what it was, and like goes to turn on a light. That all of these fucking Christmas display lights just come on in the back room. He finds a box that he like opens. Like the side of it says, whoever accepts this gift will be the soul of its contents. And then opens the box and finds this elf doll in it, and a note that says, "You are part of the wild hunt. Any attempt to interrupt the nature of its intent will lead to end. Be warned that it sees all and punishes you." Wait. Be warned that it sees all and punishes. You are granted removal of one name from this ... naughty list.
Whoa.
The stupid doll is just like a weird Spock doll, basically, with a fucking elf outfit and a knife. After he like picks up this doll in the list, it starts Christmas music starts playing and it starts snowing in the back room.
I mean, I'm not. If that happened to me, I'd be pretty freaked out. Just saying.
Yeah, I would kill myself.
Nah, it's pretty normal. Not a big deal.
There's a shot later in the movie for like no reason of just like snow that just starts turning bloody. That's also never fucking explained.
Okay, that's what I was referring to when I thought maybe because it's like she's being attacked, she goes into the bathroom, and then they show that shot, and I was like, oh, maybe one of the boogeties is gonna be like summoned and he's gonna come out or something, and then nothing happened, and I was like, what was that shot about? It didn't translate to me at all that it was like turning bloody. It just looked like a bloody. I don't know. It's freaking weird.
So there's a bunch of shit with Victoria in the front of the store, and her best friend Sky calls, who is maybe the only plausibly decent actor in this movie.
She's not very good either,
No.
but at least she's funny.
I didn't write down anything they talk about except at one point she calls her a pedophile.
I didn't really understand like what they were talking about because she kept asking like where Nick was, like who, why do you care? And then they're like, I just wrote, stoner roommate calls and dialogue is weird. There's for some reason a party on Christmas.
Yeah, so there's like this weird underlying plot of like everybody in Victoria's life does not like Nick. And like the parents explain why later, but like no one else does. They just don't like him for some reason. And it all like pretty much the entire movie it makes it seem like because he doesn't like Christmas.
Yeah.
What a son of a bitch.
Yeah. Fucking
Also,
dick.
there's like some, yeah, like who doesn't like Christmas? Oh my God.
Monsters.
There's also some like weird dialogue about like, so you find out that they're gonna get married, but then like they've only known each other for 3 months or something. So like, I guess that's supposed to be like part of it. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, like, it is, but it's not, because, like, everybody's just kind of just, like, none of them are ever just, like, it's too quick. They're just, like, I don't like this guy.
Don't throw your life away,
Yeah.
baby girl.
There's also a fucking guy that is, like, just a weird throwaway scene that, like, sort of gets brought up later. This guy shoveling snow out in front of the store, even though there's, like, no snow. That it's just more shit that's just extremely confusing until like an hour later in the fucking movie. You get more of this note that just says like, I accept this gift from Wudon. And I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
But as he reads it, it immediately stops snowing and the music stops and a symbol is burned into Nick's arm.
Classic Wudon.
Yep. This is where the very good CGI starts showing up. After he gets done looking at this fucking thing burned into his arm and not freaking out about it, he looks down and the elf doll is gone.
Yeah, normal stuff.
Nick takes a lot of this beginning of this movie very well.
Yeah, it's just like totally in stride. Like, hey man,
Yeah.
that's Christmas.
That's right.
Fucking hate Christmas and getting shit burned into my arm from nobody.
He's like, this is why. He's like, this is why I fucking hate Christmas because this shit's always happening.
Always getting stuff burned into my arm by Wudon.
And then he closes the box and like takes a pill that's also just kind of not really explained. He just takes this fucking pill and for fucking 100 million BC.
I like literally wrote down, take your fucking pill.
And then you get the longest goddamn scene in this movie of Victoria and Nick driving and like basically not talking to each other for most of it. Like,
You know what would have made this scene way better?
Wudon.
Techno.
Oh yeah, always.
EDM.
This movie would have easily been a 9 out of 10 if there was just EDM playing under the entire thing.
Like blasting.
Might as well. All of the music and like sound effects drown out all of the dialogue anyway. So
It's also like they keep doing this thing where they play like 2 songs at the same time. Like when he's in the room when the Christmas music starts playing, you have that, but then you have like what I assume to be the Elf's theme song that starts playing, but like at the same time as the Christmas music, and it happens like multiple times, and I'm just like, who? Did nobody edit this? Yeah. But in this scene, there's no music. There's no sound. It's just them sitting in a car for like 10 minutes.
like they kind of talk about like the doll he found and like she literally just interrupts him and it's just like, do you want to marry me? And then he's just like kind of doesn't say much and like they kind of bicker about how he hates Christmas and she's like, well, how come you don't want me to meet your mom? And then it's just nothing until they come across like some dude who like wrecked his car.
But like Victoria doesn't seem to see him or something.
Yeah. She's like, why are you pulling over? And then there's just this massive accident right in front of him.
There's so much smoke billowing from this vehicle. Just like, why did you pull over? Why?
I just assumed she was like, "Why'd you pull over? Fuck this guy. Keep going."
Yeah.
I mean,
was
that's pretty much what
talking to you.
happens, right?
Yeah, and like, so there's this car accident that Nick stops and like asks the guy if he's all right, and the guy just kind of is just like, "I'm gonna get in trouble," and basically just because fuck it, who gives a shit? You find out later that everybody in this town is like gotten older, but kept like their children brains for
Which
reasons.
I don't understand at all. I don't get it.
It's just why the dude is just shoveling and there's no snow, and then like this guy wrecked his car and he's just like, "I'm getting in trouble."
And then he's like, oh,
Yeah, and then he just starts like pretending, like making car driving noises. It's so stupid.
In his defense, I still make car driving noises in my car.
I assume. My next note is they arrive home and Christmas music is playing, which I don't remember why that was important to note, but
I think it's just because she like gives him shit about it. She's like, "Oh, Christmas music, better go turn that off." She's like, think I'll make hot chocolate, but I won't dare put marshmallows in it or something."
She's a
And I was like,
fucking
"What are?"
bitch. Like,
Yeah.
this dude obviously has some sort of fucking trauma from like Christmas that you find out later something happened where like my guess is he's got some sort of schizophrenia, may not be the right thing, but like
He definitely has like delusions.
something happened where he saw something that ended up being him like killing his dad, and I think her dad later delivers the dialogue that like he stabbed his mom repeatedly in the face, but she's still alive and in a psych ward now. Which I feel like if you get stabbed repeatedly in the face, you probably aren't living through that.
I don't know. The elf like stabbed people repeatedly in the face, and they were fine.
The elf doesn't even stab; he just kind of slashes.
Yeah.
But she's just being fucking terrible to this dude who's got some sort of trauma dealing with Christmas, and she's like, "Oh, I don't wanna." She's just like somebody on Twitter that's just like, "Oh, triggered, huh?"
Yeah, pretty
Gotta
much.
go throw these marshmallows away. Like, fuck you.
Don't let my little snowflake to get upset. Oops.
Oh god, I guarantee you there's probably jokes like that in Elves.
Probably.
They're like arguing, and like Nick looks over and sees this elf shitting on the shelf. Would have made a much better movie.
I fucking wish.
He just
This is when this starts pretty much Nick's acting through the rest of the movie, which is just staring off in disbelief.
with his mouth wide open.
Yes.
Like he literally reminds me of like the girl from the beginning of The Ring. Like that's what he's doing the whole time.
He's like stunned that this elf is at the house that he saw in the
Shitting.
store. Yes, shitting on a shelf.
I'd be pretty mad.
It'd be a better film if every time someone looked and saw the elf, it was just like ominously squatting with a pile of shit underneath it.
Like making eye contact and just
Oh, it'd be awesome.
Damn elf again.
Victoria like comes in and takes the doll and says it's not what she meant by Christmas spirit and calls it creepy as shit.
True.
Nick, who is visibly shaken by this that Victoria does not seem to notice, tells her that he didn't bring it in the house, and she takes it, and like they both go into the living room and they just sit on the couch and discuss the doll.
stare at it.
And that's when Nick finally, I'm guessing at least an hour later, is just like, oh, I have this weird seal like burned into my fucking arm. That when he goes to show her is completely obscured by the doll in the foreground.
Yeah, I was really confused at that point because I was like, is it not actually there
I think
or
they
something?
just didn't want to do CGI again.
Do it. But I really liked this scene actually because he's basically just like, yeah, I didn't bring this doll here, it followed me. Also, this seal thing, and she goes, "Damn, I hate when that happens." I was like, right?
The worst.
This ruins your week. Victoria obviously does not believe any of his story and goes and puts this doll outside in some kind of fucking drawer cabinet thing that's outside for some reason.
Yeah, she's like, I put it in the trash, and I was like, that didn't look okay.
And like something's lurking in bushes and watching her, and you never find out what it is.
It's nothing.
It's
a Demogorgon.
I hate this so much. Nick is like looking at this list that he took that was in the box, and like the name at the top that's not crossed out like flashes Victoria's name, but also like it's not Victoria's name. I don't know. It's like the names are all in some kind of other language, but it just flashes showing it's Victoria's name.
Yeah.
And so I guess Victoria and Nick the two last names on this list. Like,
I guess so. I don't know.
Then,
the right answer.
Yes, that's pretty much the answer to everything.
I don't know.
Nick goes upstairs to shower, and Victoria's like talking to Sky on the phone.
Sky is like wearing a graduation gown for some reason.
Oh my god, I didn't even notice that.
It's like a purple graduation gown.
All I know is that like she's telling her to call off the wedding and that Nick is going to kill her.
Yeah, she says that Vic was having dreams about that Nick was having dreams about murdering Victoria, and she's like, no, they're not. They're night terrors. And I was like, about murdering you? Like, you need to leave. He needs help, and you need to leave if he is having dreams. Listen, this is a PSA to everybody.
Hold on a second. You see how Victoria is in this movie. Please, you can't tell me you wouldn't be having dreams of murdering her as well.
Okay, but listen, if somebody tells you that they are having dreams about murdering you, you need to go. Because that's not normal. And she's just like, oh, they're just night terrors. It's fine. I'm making donuts. And, like, I mean, you are crazy.
Like, I guess this attitude makes sense with the twist at the end that she, I guess, like lures him there for. I guess she understands everything that's going to happen or something. I don't know.
Movie. Yeah, I guess so.
The twist for the sake of a twist.
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like for real. Yeah.
Like I thought the whole movie was going to lead up to like hers is the last name on the list, and like Nick was going to like sacrifice himself for her or some shit, or like was going to have to kill her to end all of this, but it's worse
I think that maybe like her so yeah, she said all she says is that like I have the curse too, blah. So I'm like, I guess the whole point of her pretending like that they were gonna get married and him being with her is that he would do that, but then he doesn't, or like I don't really know. I don't understand.
This is why other podcasts just constantly cover like Friday the 13th and shit, because
this has just been like an hour of us being like, this is what happened, but I don't really know. I don't know.
This is like if M. Night
taking years off of our lives.
Wrote a movie when he was like 6. So I don't know. Like Nick's up in the shower, and you get maybe the best scene of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Which is Nick has some sort of vision where he sees a Santa Claus with a skull face that you see for literally half a second, which is like the only good,
the best half second in the film
effect of the movie. And then he has the worst acting of all time besides the dad, where he's just like out of the shower losing his fucking shit.
Oh,
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried we were gonna see some dong, but we didn't, so
I would have saved this movie. Would have at least knocked it up to 5.
I'm devastated there was no dong.
I mean, he had like a towel wrapped around his waist, but it was like a pretty small towel, and he just was like flopping around on the floor, and like He literally like freaks out.
It's
Need that floppy dong.
Yeah, a dong would have saved that scene of just him, eyes wide, mouth wide open, just no noise coming out, and then just a dong flopping around.
Like
Just
a
on its
fish.
own. Like he's sitting still and
Yeah.
it's just like bouncing up and down.
Oh, goodbye.
um,
This is the worst.
Trademark. I hope you suffer. Ghost dong.
I'm not writing
Yes,
good.
done.
Katie's got a
All right,
giant
Ghost dong.
as a picture.
Okay. No. I am a PG-13 drawer.
You can just
No
put in
dong.
some shadow a little bit.
Shadow dong.
So Nick is like, I don't know, fucking flopping around like a dong on the ground. And Victoria comes in and like he like calms down. And you just cut to a scene of him telling her they immediately need to pack. She needs to go pack her shit up. They're leaving. And Victoria's just like, but there's a huge snowstorm coming, and like all flights are canceled, and her parents and family arrive.
Oh, he doesn't even tell him that. He just like goes downstairs and there's just like people and he's like,
Yeah, it's like her dad, mom, sister, and then I guess her sister's husband.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
It's-
And then
I kept referring to Jeremiah as her brother, but I think that's like the sister's husband.
well, and then I was confused too because like the two older people are definitely the grandmother and the grandfather, but then she's like,
Oh,
"Oh,
yeah, I
my
forgot they were
family's
there."
in there. I invited people from the town." And I was like, "Who from the town was there? Jeremiah, maybe, if anybody?"
No, I think she invites the people from the town, or at least says it. But like, if they're all,
They don't. Yeah, they don't show up.
well, say if they all have like kids' minds, like they don't know what the fuck's going on. That dude was just like shoveling snow when there's no snow.
Yeah, it just is like kind of a weird like why bring that up if they didn't show up.
Yeah, there's just like a bunch of fucking weird, awkward shit of like Nick being like, we gotta get the fuck out of here, and like the family's there, and it's all weird. Him and Victoria go into the other room where she is the absolute worst fiance of all time, and it's just like arguing with her about, or arguing with him about like staying.
Yeah.
There's like
yeah.
a quick shot too of like the family putting up Christmas decorations, even though they all are fully aware that there's some sort of fucking triggering shit going on with like Nick and Christmas.
Yeah. Yeah. Mhm.
I don't know. A bunch of fucking bullshit happens where they're arguing a lot, and then eventually the grandparents are just like, we're getting the fuck out of here. It is just absolute fucking like blizzard conditions outside, which just put a pin in that for coming up in a couple scenes. But the grandparents go to leave, and they get in the car and are arguing with each other, and like it's just dumb old people bickering where he's like, oh, shh, you hear that? And she's like, what? And he's like, the silence. And like she happens to catch like out of the corner of her eye like something in the back seat, which is this fucking elf doll that they both turned around. They're like, what the fuck is this? How they get into our car? And it slowly turns and looks at them and then kills them off screen.
Yeah. The first of many off-screen.
It's also it's
attack.
the first time you see the doll move, and it's terrible. It's so bad.
It's rough.
It also like this is like when it starts, you just hear like this like weird laughter for like the rest of the movie.
Oh my
like
god, the rest of
all
this
the time.
fucking movie is just underscored with like this just weird doll talking in like elfish, and like all of the subtitles just say like menacing elfish talk or some
yeah,
shit.
chanting. Yeah.
It's so bad, and it's like so much louder than everything else in the movie. Oh fuck.
A good summation of this film. Sigh. Fuck.
Yeah, it cuts to Victoria talking to her sister in the kitchen, telling her about like the old man shoveling snow at the store, some fucking bullshit about this elf doll. You finally, 40 minutes into this fucking movie, get some barely any explanation of like why Nick hates Christmas. Is this when I can't remember? Is this when the parents explain? No, because they haven't left yet.
They just like Victoria sort of like alludes to the fact that she's going to tell Tiffany like what the problem is, but then Tiffany's just like, I think you've had she's like, yeah, well, you know what happened. Then she like trails off, and she was like,
well,
I don't know.
I guess it's just that like his parents died on Christmas, but it's not revealed yet like that he killed them.
Because in the summary it says like he has night terrors because of a murder he saw when he was young. So I think that maybe she sort of thinks that like the parents died and like that's why he doesn't hate Christmas. Which, like, to be fair, no matter how much I loved Christmas, if like my fiance was like, my parents were murdered on Christmas, so I hate Christmas, I'd be like, all right, bro, that trumps it. Like, that's like that's like a pretty serious compared to you just wanting to have
it's a pretty
some,
good reason.
We'll only invite all of our family over and people you don't know and put up Christmas decorations anyway. And
right, it's very strange. Anyways,
the rest of her family is just worried that the grandparents haven't come back, so Nick and Jeremiah go out looking for them. And this is where I said put a pin in the blizzard thing, because there is absolutely zero snow in any of the areas they're walking in. Like, there's apparently this massive snowstorm going on, but they go walking into these woods that are just absolutely no snow anywhere.
You know, this movie's just a really shitty version of Krampus.
I don't know if I never saw Krampus.
You should.
I know, I always see it, but I just never, like, I don't know. I just, like, never, especially, like, the rest of the year, I'm never, like, I'm going to watch this, like, Christmas movie.
Yeah. Just, like, the whole family's over and get trapped, and then, like, the grandparents leave, or people leave out into a snowstorm and then get murdered by, you know, the Krampus or the elf or whatever. It hits a lot of those similar beats, but
surprising this
obviously
was not released by Asylum Films.
At least
that is surprising, actually.
Krampus had like a legit snowstorm.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong, Krampus rules. This is not talking shit on Krampus. It's talking all of the shit on the elf, which is the worst.
So they're like walking through these woods and kind of talking, and then Jeremiah just beats the shit out of Nick and tells him he's going to go back and break off the engagement with Victoria.
It's pretty extreme. He just like punches him out.
By beats the shit out of, I mean barely, like swings at him, blatantly not hitting him, but Nick goes falling to the ground anyway. It's like the worst fighting like choreography I think I've ever seen in a movie. As he's like, he like punches him and Nick's on the ground, and all of a sudden starts snowing like it did in that back room. And then the elf hits Jeremiah in the back of the head with something that you never see. And then Jeremiah just like falls to the ground and I think gets stabbed by the elf, which you also don't see. Paul just walked into the room with a paper towel roll.
What? Thank you, Paul.
That's a better film than the elf. Just film Paul walking in with various objects.
I don't. This
is where you see the elf CGI for the first time.
Yeah, like actually moving around instead of just moving its head or whatever. Like it goes like walking towards Dick.
But it also like doesn't even look like the elf doll anymore, which it would have been better if they just like put the actual doll on like strings and then just like made it walk towards him. Like
it's just like Thanksgiving style, like it's just on those like black rods.
Yeah. It would have been better than the CGI that they did. That they also linger on. So it's like not only do they have really bad CGI, they like don't try and mask it at all. They're just like, here he is.
Yeah, check it out.
It's
Someone was really proud of that horrible, horrible elf.
I mean,
And
so
was like, can we stay on it for a little bit, please?
the elf walking is cheesy, but it's like it's definitely not like the worst CGI I've ever seen. Because that comes later when you see Nick's symbol on his arm. But like it's fine. Like it's it's on par with like the fucking CGI dinosaurs in 100 million BC and shit. It's just
I was just gonna say, I wish that like Velociraptor popped up at this point.
it's,
They just put like a little elf hat on him. And he
It's-
was like, hey.
Yes.
like it's fine for whatever their budget probably was.
$28.
Yeah. Just all made on Instagram, I assume.
The elf was the Instagram filter
Yeah.
that just like
There's a
shot one
fucking
section.
weird Snapchat filter they had. So Nick goes running off and happens to like stumble across the grandparents dead in the car. And he comes like running in the house and he's just like, we need to get the fuck out of here. There is an elf on the loose. Obviously the parents are just like, what is happening?
That's not going to get me motivated.
There's-
Like, we have to get out. There's an elf on the loose. Like,
There's some dialogue before that of the dad talking to Victoria and that he's mad that she didn't ask his permission to get engaged.
Yeah.
Which is some gross shit right there.
Yeah, or like she didn't get the okay from the family that she could like marry him,
Yeah.
which like, ew.
That's some fucking, like, her dad's the type of dude that buys those fucking, like, shirts at the store that's just like, sure, you could date my daughter if you get past my 6 gauge first. Fucking stupid bullshit like that. Again, this dad, who I think's name is John, is the worst fucking actor I think I've easily, I don't, like, he's definitely worse than anyone. I'm throwing it out there. He's worse than anybody in Tsunami. And Tsunami was just fucking garbage acting.
I didn't think you were going to qualify it. I thought you were just going to say he's worse than anyone. And I was going to agree still.
It's so
Yes.
bad.
He's like a whisper talker and he like has no emotion. He's just like, and then he stabbed his dad in the face and how can you marry him?
Yeah,
Like,
like he's
that's how
supposed to
he
be
is.
angry, but he's just like, you didn't ask my permission for this first. Why are you marrying this guy? He stabbed his dad and killed him, and then stabbed his mom in the face a bunch of times, and now she's in a psych ward. And like just falls asleep mid-scene.
And he kept like pushing his glasses up. I'm like, for the love of God, can you not?
Oh my god! Like this is he was just like, this is my character trait for the movie. Like, oh my god, he was in True Detective.
I saw that.
As a corpse?
He plays an attorney in it. He's also in Treme, which I think was a TV series a bunch of people liked. Maybe on like HBO
Yeah.
or Showtime or some shit.
Yeah. I
What if
think
he's actually a really good actor and like
He was just
he
like,
just wanted to
fuck
and was just
this.
phoning it in?
Fuck this stupid movie. He's in a movie called A Ghost and the Boy with a Box on His Head.
Yeah, I want to see that.
No, you don't. Oh my god! I had to look to make sure. I just keep a mental note to never watch any of these movies.
Making a list.
Yes.
Checking it
I was
twice.
about to say definitely checking it twice. All right, let's see, where the fuck were we at? Yeah, so her dad is just like explaining that he had to he essentially just Googled Nick to find this fucking murder story about how like he was the one that killed his dad when he was 9 and then stabbed his mom in the face repeatedly, but she's still alive and in a psych ward.
They also made it seem like he killed like everybody in the house, because he was like, I don't even know where my note was. I wrote down something, and he's like, yeah, something about like the whole party, and then he was just like, they were wearing their finest silks, and I was like, what are you talking about?
That'd be awesome if he just killed like the entire party.
I'm pretty sure that's what it said. But like, okay, first of all, you're marrying somebody you don't know that he like murdered a bunch of people. Also, if he murdered a bunch of people, he wouldn't just be like walking around.
So
Even if he was
to give it some credit, it's been 3 months and they're getting married. So like, I mean like, I get maybe not knowing, especially if he doesn't bring it up and she doesn't seem like somebody smart enough to like Google that type of shit. But it's like, so like, it has to have come across at some point that his mom is still alive. Because she says, why won't you introduce me to your mom? So now I just want to know what his story was as to like where his mom's at.
I think because he brings it up in the car and he says like, I told you why, and she's like, well, tell me again. I think probably it's that he just said that like, yeah, my dad was murdered and she saw it, and now she's like in a facility. Like, it is my guess. But...
I don't even know how it's fucking possible, but this movie might be more confusing than Death House. Or The Evil Within.
I don't have any idea what happened in this film.
No, I don't either.
House, I at least knew there was a house. People died.
And the thing is like, this movie didn't need this much backstory.
No, there's like so much backstory and plot twist, and it's just like none of it makes sense, and it's like, it's a killer elf on the shelf. Like, you didn't need to like try this hard.
It's way too serious for a murderous elf on a shelf movie.
For real.
Do you think this guy, like, they thought they were just making, like... They're like, this movie's gonna change the fucking game.
I think so.
Fuck Jordan Peele. I'm taking Get Out. This is gonna be bigger than Get Out.
I think so.
So... Yeah, Nick's back and is just, like, telling everybody that this fucking elf attacked Jeremiah. And then... like, that's when, like, the sister's just like, oh, you mean this elf? And she's, like, holding the doll.
Dun, dun.
Nick asks, like... Nick then confronts, like, her dad about, like, why did you tell Jeremiah to attack me? And he just, like... just fucking doesn't even acknowledge that, like, Nick is talking to him. And he's just, like... tells his wife to go get his coat for him that is literally 3 feet away from him. On the couch. So she does, because he's a fucking dickhead. Mm-hmm. And, like, the elf doll's now under this jacket, and he's gonna go outside to look for Jeremiah. And so when he opens the door... I'm assuming this is Katie's favorite scene.
I was laughing so hard, I can't even stand it.
The worst carolers of all time.
Oh my god.
It's like a group of,
I wish
like...
you could see.
No, go ahead.
I'll say I just like buried my face into my hands, like.
That's
so
what I'm doing
deeply.
right now. Yeah. Oh my god.
It's like
Also,
they didn't even bother trying to find anybody that could even, like, carry a tune.
no. It's also like not snowing at all at this point for some reason, even though it's like blizzarding.
Yeah, there's this weird inconsistency that it's just like, there's this huge blizzard that's supposed to be there that has taken down all of the airplanes, unless that's just like a line she told him. But it's just like the only time it snows is anytime the elf is like around, but then even then it's just like sometimes, because like it doesn't happen in the house ever, but it happened in that back room.
Right.
So there's all these fucking horrible carolers outside singing literally the same line over and over and over again for like one song, and then they get interrupted, and like, because the dad's just like, I don't have time for this bullshit, and they're like, no, you're gonna listen to us, and they start singing another song that's just a different line over and over and over again.
That guy's like, he's like, excuse me, it would just warm my heart if you would just let us sing this song. We're gonna sing one song, and then they just start, like, singing it's not even a real song, and he's just like,
they're also in a house in the middle of fucking nowhere. Like, you
Yeah.
never see any sort of neighbors or anything else. They're just, like, in this weird farmhouse-looking thing. It's just more bullshit this movie didn't need. But you get to see about 15 people get killed by Christmas lights.
Oh my god. It's
So the
bad.
first time that it happened made me laugh so hard because it's like they're singing, well, they're not really singing, but they're singing. The Christmas lights are like wrapping around their legs, and then you just see some guy get snatched, but it makes that like that like sound like a rubber. I don't know. I can't do the sound, but it just makes this like hilarious like cartoon sound as it like grabs him, and then everyone just like starts screaming, and they're getting like electrocuted, and they're getting like strangled, and there's like.
This is a scene that in like any other movie I would have been like, this fucking rules, but it's so bad in this.
It's hilarious.
And then, like I think like one of them just starts getting like suffocated by snow because you just
I couldn't tell what was happening to her,
yeah, it's
but I think so.
it's,
She like
it's stupid.
drowns in it or something. Yeah. And then
Oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I'm drinking water.
Okay, and then the guy who was like, "You shut up. We're gonna sing these songs for you." The elf throws like an icicle at him, and it just like cuts away.
Oh,
And
yeah.
the dad.
Again, another death that you do not see. And it's also the icicle just looked like it was like a piece of paper.
It kind of looked like a Peter Pan flute because it was like.
Yeah, it was
There was,
like
like,
a weird triangle type thing.
Yeah. That he just like launched at him, and he was like, and I love how the dad just like goes inside. Seems very unalarmed that he just watched like a whole group of people get murdered. He's just like,
That's
and the
the-
mom was
my-
like, what
my-
happened? He was like, I don't know.
My note is Victoria's family freaking out, dad oddly calm.
Yeah, it's just like, she's like, what happened? He's like, I don't know. And then the power goes out, and he's just like, I'll go find the circuit breaker. I'll just go outside. Like, what did he think happened? He watched it.
Yeah, like all the power goes out except for like this one string of lights on one windowsill that like Nick and Victoria are at upstairs. That again, another thing that's just never explained. While like the rest of her family are downstairs freaking out except the dad, like something hits the window and they go look outside and there's just like a snowman out there now.
Oh, another Krampus thing.
That's it. I take it that happens in the Krampus.
Well, yeah, there's like a snowman type of situation.
It's also it's
The best way to put it.
My favorite thing is that they show this like just garbage looking snowman, but that actually looks like a real snowman.
Yeah.
That you find out later is Jeremiah in there, but when they showed Jeremiah as the snowman, he's just like just Jeremiah
his
with a little
face.
bit of snow over his face.
Yeah. I assumed that maybe he was supposed to be like that was the back of the snowman, is my guess.
I
But
don't think so. I think they just
how does an elf that size make a snowman?
magic.
Oh, true.
And ladders.
All right.
So
I thought you said
the
laughter.
ladder.
Magic and laughter.
I mean,
It's actually a wholesome film.
so the dad goes to like check the circuit breaker box and tells the sister to go check on Victoria. This is when you see Nick upstairs with the fucking worst CGI I think I've maybe ever seen
Yes.
of the symbol on his arm, but then when he moves it, the symbol moves like a good second and a half behind his arm.
And it changes size too. Like,
It's so bad. Yeah, it does. It's on a different arm this time. Yeah, because like when it happens
Doesn't
earlier
it-
with like when he's at the box, it's on his left arm, and this one it was his right. Get your shit together, the elf. God.
yeah, I don't know. So this is when he finally like. Did you write? This is when he finally tells her
No,
like.
so my note here is
secret.
Nick tells story about something. Ask Kit and Katie if they understand any of this.
I don't understand it, but I wrote it down. So fine.
I forgot it.
Okay, so finally Nick is like snaps out of it and he's like, okay, I'm gonna tell you what happened. So he says his grandfather was keeper of the children's souls. And anyone caught, they made a curfew, right? And anyone that was caught outside of the curfew, which was after dawn, which like whose children are running around outside after dawn? I don't know, whatever. Anyone caught after dawn curfew was chased by the Demigorg, and they would have their souls taken to hell.
Demagogue.
Demagogue. Which like what?
Quit watching Stranger Things.
And then it says if you see them, then you're cursed unless you help them take the souls. So then he has the list and he shows it to her and he says his grandpa helped them steal souls in the wooden box. That is the story.
I still don't know what any of that means.
So I don't know either because they made it seem that like I don't know. It's basically just like these boogans are running around stealing souls, and if they saw you, they would either steal your soul or you could help them steal other souls. So his grandfather decided to help, and they gave him the elf to help. But like I'm not really sure why his grandfather was called the keeper of the children's souls, because then they made it seem like the curfew was of the grandfather.
I thought,
so like
at the beginning of this movie, that what was going to happen was that all of these dolls were just going to be made out of real like kids.
yeah,
And that
or
like
yeah.
something was going to happen with that, and it kind of just doesn't.
Which is like also, so this is the point when like she's also like, well, that's why the ledger was empty because he never got to finish. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That doesn't. There's literally at this point no point to the fact that he was a toy maker, except for that like, okay, there's an illusion that he was Santa Claus or something. Because like the elf is not a doll that he made. They show you a picture of a doll and it's just like a regular baby doll. So like, what? It's like none of it means anything. It's doesn't mean anything.
The only good dialogue in this movie happens right here, where Victoria turns into Luke Cage and says "Sweet Christmas."
I didn't even catch that. So
she's just like "Sweet Christmas," and I was like, "Luke Cage, what's happening?" So you cut back to like the dad looking for the breaker box, and here's like you just hear like the elf making fucking weird noises in the background, and
the subtitles said malevolent elvish snarling, if you can imagine.
the elf stabs the dad in the leg with a screwdriver, and then jumps on him and cuts his face slightly.
My favorite part about this is that like it's half CGI elf and then half them just like hitting him with the doll.
Yeah, I mean, basically, like, that's anytime the doll, like, attacks you, like, head on, it's just kind of like, like, the doll, it'll show, like, these stabbing movements, or, like, movements, but, like, there's just literally, like, a streak of blood on, like, a face. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
It's just depressing that, like, Child's Play did this so much better, like, what, almost 30 years ago? Yeah, so the dad was attacked and, like, escapes, and he just, like, goes outside and, like, stumbles across Jeremy's body in the snowman, kind of. And then, what the fuck happens next? I think the sister runs out to, like, help bring the dad inside. Oh, no, like, the dad... So, wait, what the fuck happens to the sister?
I don't know. She
Does
literally
she
like
literally just leave and never gets explained?
yeah, so that's why I'm wondering, is that shot of the bloody grass supposed to be her? Like she literally just like walks out and then you never see her again.
Yeah, so, like, the dad, like, comes stumbling in and is just like, Nick knows what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And the sister goes, like, running outside and you never see her again. I just realized that, like, you never...
Yeah. And
They
then
ran out of budget to pay her.
she was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And then this starts like a weird moment too, where like for some reason they have like the rest of the house that they're in. I don't know if the doors are supposed to be locked or something, but they start trying to like open the window to get out the window, and they do it multiple times, and I'm like, what? Why are they trying to go out the window?
Yeah, they try to like go out the front door a couple times, and I think it's just like that's magically locked, so they can't get out.
Oh, okay.
That's the only thing I can gather, because I know
Also,
like at some point Nick tries to leave through the front door and like it won't open.
the
It's
cool
also
thing
the
about
biggest fucking window of all time that I can't imagine like actually opens.
right, also, the cool thing about windows is that they're made of glass, so like just throw something through it. I don't know.
Throw
Then
the
it's like,
fucking boxes of Christmas decorations through it and leave.
yeah, so the elf is like stabbing underneath the door, and they're just like, Then you hear him like stomping on the floorboards ahead of them, and they're just like scared to do anything. And I'm like, that's why I'm like was thinking maybe there was supposed to be more than one, because like if you hear him above you, just like leave out the door. I mean,
I'm guessing he can just like magically
appear.
just appear wherever. I don't know
Yeah.
why we're trying to find logic in it, but
Because it's just
so like the fucking mom goes to run off to find bandages, and Nick's like, I'll help, and she's like, get the fuck away from me, and like has this giant ass knife all of a sudden. The dad dies while she's gone.
I wrote, Dad is dead, but then later I wrote, well, I don't know, because he was like literally breathing throughout that entire scene. So
The mom like goes into this room and gets attacked by the elf that slightly slices at her face too. And then she just happens to find what I guess is a nail gun in like a drawer.
and like the nightstand,
Yeah,
you know,
where you keep
as
your
you
nail
do.
gun.
Uh-huh.
While she's like in there like trying to like ward off this fucking elf doll, her phone starts ringing, which I guess is Victoria's, and it is Sky calling, which is when she answers, and like the lady at the drive-thru, she's like, I'll take your order. She's like, bitch, shut up, I'm on the phone. And then like the mom starts telling, it says something to Sky like she's like, call the police, there's a murder in the house. And she's like, Sky's like, oh, what's like, I guess ask how tall it is, and she's like 1 foot tall.
Yeah.
There's a fucking
Which
killer on the loose.
Sky interprets as, oh, it's Nick.
Yeah, because she thinks he's Amityville horroring them.
This is fucking, God, everybody in this movie is so stupid. I guess the mom is killed by the elf, who just wraps her up in a blanket and puts a note on it that says it's to Santa.
God, that's how I want to die.
Which I
Wrap me up
also
in a
like.
blanket.
So then it basically just cuts to like this shit happens where she gets like wrapped up in a blanket as a present, and then you get some shit of like Nick.
Yeah.
Like Nick puts together something about like the wild hunt involving the townspeople that makes no sense. And that,
Yeah, because he's like they're killing the descendants of the town now, and I was like, but her family's not from there. Like,
I mean, I guess they are, maybe. At this point, you don't think so, but apparently, like Nick's grandfather didn't finish the list, meaning Nick is next, and I guess Victoria, who is also on this list. And then this is when you get the discovery that like the townspeople are old but have children's minds. And so Victoria goes looking for a mom and finds a giant box present on the bed, which is what I assumed was going to be like the mom in it. And it's like moving around, and then Victoria goes to, like, puts her hand on it like she's going to open it and gets stabbed in the arm by a knife through the box. Which Nick immediately starts having another fucking like episode like earlier where he just like zones out and fucking falls to the ground.
falls on the ground. I thought maybe he died at this point because he like doesn't move for a while, but he's not dead.
I wish. And it just ends up being the elf was in this box that is like cuts his way out and pops out, and Victoria just like leaves Nick in the room and goes like running off. And that's when you get the weird like blood spot in the snow that just like happens for no reason.
Yeah, I have no idea.
And you just get like a couple minutes of like the elf attacking Victoria as she like runs through the house and like eventually hides in a bathroom, and the elf starts trying to like Jack Torrance its way through the door.
But it's a tiny elf, so.
I desperately, like, I was just fucking hoping he popped his head through the door. It would have been much better. But eventually, like,
He just cut a hole and then like shit through it.
Yes.
Just flinging turds through the hole in the door.
Amazing. Eventually it just stops, and then the door just creaks open, and Victoria goes to leave, and you can see that like this fucking elf is now high up on this shelf and jumps down and attacks her, and then Nick grabs it and punches the shit out of it, breaking its porcelain head all over the place.
Is that easy?
Yeah,
Whole
right?
time.
And then something happens that I didn't see. I don't know if I just zoned out or was taking notes, but does Victoria have a fucking symbol on her arm too? Or
I
like
didn't
somewhere?
see it. I didn't see the symbol, but he does ask.
Like, where did you get that
asks
or
her
whatever?
about it or something. Yeah.
And that's what she just fucking bashes it. She's like, he says like, where'd you get that symbol? And then how did your parents know to find this house? And she just bashes him in the head with a fucking flashlight. And this is the twist that Victoria apparently knew what was going on and was going to happen.
Because she was cursed too.
Yeah, like her name is on this list as well. And so she's like searching Nick's like passed out body on the ground for the list and can't find it. And the elf runs up to attack her again, and she goes like fleeing, and like her and Nick go running upstairs. And she gets the list and like rubs it on her neck or some fucking nonsense.
Yeah, I don't know what that's about.
Like Nick goes to strangle her, and she fights him off, and then the elf, I guess, kills Nick.
I guess.
Um,
Who knows?
And then you just cut to her getting into Sky's car. Sky says that like
There's also no snow anywhere, by the
Yes.
way.
Well, like, so, like, Sky says that, like, she was driving there and the roads were, like, a mess, and she just felt like she kept driving in circles or some shit, and then all of a sudden it cleared up. So I guess, like, once Nick got knocked off the list, because they say earlier that, like, they can erase one name from the list, so I'm guessing Victoria's name is the one that was erased from the list, so then everything clears up.
How you
The
just,
snow
like,
just evaporates.
erase stuff with your neck, I guess.
Yes. That's how I erase things.
I mean, you know.
Yeah. It takes practice, but you can do it.
And then Sky's like, well, I got you a Christmas present, and gives her an elf doll, and then end of fucking stupid movie.
Like, Sky
Thankfully.
speeds up there because she thinks that Nick is trying to kill them, and then she's just like, hey, bitch, here's a Christmas present. It's cute, right? And I was like, huh?
Yeah, they're
Didn't you think there was a murder happening?
She's pretty nonchalant about the fact that Victoria has obviously been attacked because she's like covered in blood streaks and that everybody else in the house is dead.
Yeah, she's just like, by the way, here's your Christmas present.
Here's the fucking like Taco Bell I ordered as well.
Right. So, you know.
Yeah, don't watch this movie. It's fucking terrible.
Don't even
No.
look at it.
Yeah.
Never speak of it.
Like,
it's
even
a
if you think
shame.
it's fun to, like, watch along, this is not the one to... This is a skipper.
Spend your time and log on to the Hoopla app and watch Santa Jaws next week instead.
Hoopla.
That's the name of it.
Hoopla.
I can confirm that Santa Jaws is extremely good, and I
Yay.
feel like we had to
Very
suffer through
excited.
this just to get to Santa Jaws.
This is our penance.
God. Yeah, right.
Yeah, fuck
Oh,
this movie.
goodness.
Did anybody see like any news?
Yeah, I have news this time.
All right.
I thought you said nudes.
Oh, well, yeah, that too.
I'm gonna bow out of that one. No.
Send
I have
us-
not.
Send us dong.
I saw a
pictures.
lot of dong.
Yeah, you guys can send dong pics because I don't check our social media, so that's fine.
Just be me. I don't care.
Okay, so my news is 3 things. The first one is that Zach Baggins is writing a ghost hunting book for dummies that you can get. Comes out next year.
Hard pass.
Sweet. I'm a dummy.
I can't
So.
wait. Well, he wrote a ghost hunting book just for you.
Well, we can buy it and we'll all go on a ghost hunt.
Okay.
Yes.
That sounds good.
Katie's gonna have to
Done.
come to Migration Fest just to go ghost hunting in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
If you guys haven't seen the cover, I've been retweeting it. It's a really good cover, so you can just Google it. My other news is that recently there's not really a ton of news about this, but it's pretty exciting. That 2K Games announced that there is a new BioShock game coming out at some point. Probably not for the next couple of years. Probably for whenever the next PS25 comes out or whatever. But that's pretty exciting. Because BioShock is one of my favorite games. So, the other one is, have you guys heard of Forged in Fire?
Yeah, the Goldberg show.
Like the show?
Okay, so it's not. So Forged in Fire is just the regular show I've seen, and for people who don't know what that is, it's basically a competition where people make weapons, so knives and swords and shit, and then they test them doing crazy stuff like cutting into bamboo, and they test it and then somebody wins or whatever. So there's another series called Forged in Fire: Knife or Death that, yes, Goldberg hosts, and I had no idea it existed until I just saw it on Hulu, and I was like, why do I recognize that guy? And I looked it up, and I was like, that's so freaking hilarious. So now I'm gonna watch it. It's on
That's
Hulu.
William Scott Goldberg.
If the theme song isn't exhumed, then they fucked up.
I don't know. I don't know. So I don't know if the original series is on Hulu, but his first season of Knife or Death is on there. So
That
you guys can watch it.
sounds like the most boring show I could even imagine.
I think it's kind of funny because the people who go on it are a certain type of people. And huh?
People who own swords.
Yeah, yeah. I could never imagine making a weapon. They get just a block of steel and they pound, it's just insane to me. There's no way I could ever do it. I think it's just insane that they just create it out of nothing. So it is kind of goofy in some aspects, and a lot of the people on it are sort of socially challenged, to put it nicely. But I think it's pretty funny to just watch when you're just want something on. But some of the stuff they come up with is pretty crazy. So anyways, I just thought that was funny.
Just watch it because Goldberg hosts it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have to watch the second series.
He also plays the coach's brother on the Goldbergs, which is pretty funny.
So I'm watching that right now.
Yeah,
I'm only on.
well, you got to get to season 4 or some shit before he shows up, but
Yeah, I just started watching it, and I'm only on season 3. But that's my recommendation this week because I really put off watching it for a really long time, and it's freaking hilarious.
it's pretty good, isn't it? Barry is the best character.
It's so funny because it's the thing that I like about it most is that obviously it's a sitcom, but it's created by a guy who the stories are based off of his actual life, and at the end of the show they'll show actual home videos of him and his brothers and stuff, which I think is just so sweet, and it's hilarious. But obviously I like the little brother because he's super, it takes place in the 80s, so he's super stereotypical nerdy Star Wars kind of kid, and the show is really good, so that's my recommendation.
I like Tim Meadows on it as the counselor.
Yeah,
He's
it's pretty funny.
good. Do you have anything you wanted to shout out, Kit?
Fuck. I always forget about this. In Fabric should be out by the time this drops. I haven't seen it yet, but it looks amazing. It's about a killer dress. It's a Giallo style movie about a killer
Holy
dress.
Shit, that sounds amazing.
Yes, it looks fantastic, and I've only seen great things about it, so I'm pretty excited about it.
Have you seen
That's hilarious.
Have you seen Knife Plus Heart? Have you watched that yet?
Nah, I haven't watched that yet.
You should watch that. It's really good. It's another kind of Giallo inspired like current movie,
Yeah,
I think you'd probably like it. Oh,
I need to watch that and Deadly Games up on Shudder.
Oh yeah, I've been seeing a lot about
I
that.
need to watch One Cut of the Dead as well, because it is also fun.
Yeah, I'm
It's
way
fun.
behind.
Yeah, I haven't. I've just been like out of the loop watching movies at least for the last little bit, just because of like work.
Yeah,
I've just been
same.
like sitting on the couch, basically watching shit that like 30 Rock that I'm just like already. I'm like, this is comforting, and I don't have to pay attention to it.
Yep.
I mean, I'm watching the Goldbergs instead of whatever
That's
I'm
what
supposed
like I
to
had
be watching.
just I had just finished like I think I was like a season behind on the Goldberg, so I was like, well, I'm just gonna rewatch all of it to like catch up to where I'm at. So I'd like just finished that.
I didn't, to be honest, didn't really expect to like it as much as I do. So
It's
I still haven't
really
watched
good.
like a Creep Show or like I have a bunch of stuff on Shudder that's in my queue too. But
Yeah, I never.
It's just pretty good.
I think of like 3 episodes that I never like went back to finishing just because it ended as I got busy at work. So I was just like, I don't have time to deal with this right now. I just would like shit I don't have to pay attention to. This Fabric movie looks good.
what is
Yeah.
it like to buy or is it on something?
Oh, I don't know. I was just looking at IMDb.
It'll be available like video on demand tomorrow.
Cool.
I'm trying to think of like a good movie recommendation of something maybe I'd watched recently. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been watching like movies. Watch MacGruber.
Batman Returns.
Batman Returns is pretty fucking great. I'm gonna say watch.
Are you about to say MacGruber?
Yes, watch MacGruber.
Watch Hot Rod.
Yes, watch Hot Rod
If
or
you haven't
MacGruber
seen
because
that.
they are both excellent. Hot Rod is like legit, probably like my favorite comedy.
Yeah, it's up there. We just watched it again recently, and it like 100%
I-
holds up. So.
I still like, even on like maybe like my 20th rewatch, lose my fucking mind laughing when he like goes slamming out of the door, the window breaks, and he's just like, "I'm sincerely sorry about the window."
Yeah. I'm trying to think. There's one part in it that I started laughing, and I just was crying because I couldn't. Oh, crap, I can't remember. In Hot Rod. I don't know. I was like trying to look at him. There was like one part where I literally just started crying because I was laughing so hard.
It's so good.
Huh?
What?
No. Nothing, sorry. I'm Katie and I like to party.
Oh my god, this is going off the rails. So next week, we're watching Santa Jaws,
Woo! It's happening. The dream.
which, if you want to watch it in a legal fashion, there is an app called Hoopla that, like, basically it just works as like a rental thing through like your library card that I've actually been using quite a bit. But that's how I watched it. I also watched Velocipaster on there, which is also very good.
Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah.
Velocipaster
also-
fucking rules.
If any of you guys have the NBC app, that's like the only place that it's streaming. So like if you already have it, you can watch it obviously, but the way that I watched it is you just sign up for a like a trial. You don't have to pay for it and you can watch it if you don't have a library card.
Yeah. I'll say, if you have a library card, though, you should sign up for Hoopla either way. It's pretty awesome. Because I've also been getting, like, audiobooks for work and shit. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Cool.
Cool beans.
Cool beans.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch Santa Jaws again. And actually talk about it. Alright. Rate and review us on iTunes if you want to be nice to us.
Yeah, thanks to whoever did the
The Thanksgiving one.
yeah.
We also have a bonus episode up on Bandcamp about 3 Tales from the Crypt episodes. That's real good. That's at ihopeyouSufferpodcast.bandcamp.com. You can follow us on Twitter at I Hope You Suffer and Instagram at I Hope You Suffer Podcast. You can go listen to Kit's other podcast, Riff Raff. You could also go listen to Kit on my other podcast, Let Me Be Your Pot of Love. He was our first guest talking about a bunch of
spit incident.
Yeah, a bunch of fucking nonsense on Flavor of Love and Orange Cassidy again.
Just mostly Orange Cassidy.
Caitlin just started calling Orange Julius.
That's like the first thing I hear whenever I hear whatever you said. So I listened to a few of the episodes, but like I have no idea what any of it means or who anybody is. So it's essentially like watching The Elf every week because like I don't know what's going on.
You
But
should definitely watch Rock of Love because it's insane.
Yes.
I just don't think I can.
Flavor of
You
Love
can't
is
believe
rough
you.
because Flavor Flav is terrible, but Bret Michaels
Yeah.
says a bunch of crazy shit constantly and it rules. You can follow Katie on Instagram at Werewolf Face, where she's doing some sort of thing this month about stuff she made that doesn't include dongs for some reason.
Listen, this is a PG-13 account, sir.
I mean, telling you, just put it in shadows like they did in that Batman comic, and you'll be good.
Okay, I will.
Yeah, I don't know. Go watch Santa Jaws because it's legitimately awesome. Also, trying to figure out how this. No, that won't work because the day this comes out would be the day we'd be recording it. I was gonna say ask for questions, but
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, and I was like, that's not gonna work.
yeah. So fuck that. Don't ask us questions.
Don't
Ever.
talk to us.
Yeah. All right. I hope you
Just
suffer,
kidding.
but
Do
why?
talk to us.
The fuck?
I was trying to do malicious elf noises.
Ominous goldfish sounds.
That's just the sound I assume goldfish crackers make now.
If you listen real intently in the middle of the night in your kitchen, you can hear them in the bag.
Fucking nightmares of that noise now.